Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit Sun in Scorpio. Well, the first thing I notice is that when the Sun transits Scorpio, it's making its transition from the Sun in Libra to the Sun in Scorpio. And when you have this transition period, I think in a lot of instances, you're going from a relationship in many cases that may have been maybe a little bit superficial or at the beginning stages of a relationship, and it could indicate for many that you're taking it ascending to a different level, going beyond what's superficial, seeing perhaps if there's any duplicity in relationships, seeing if there's any subterfuge. Scorpio is about getting to the bottom of things. This is about a period where you might be more investigative and probing than you are ordinarily. And this could be a time where you really see the people in your life, others in general, are they really friends, or are they really adversaries? Scorpio energy can be about seeing enemies trip themselves up. So this could be a period where you look at it and you could really be able to distinguish who friends are and who aren't. And if I remember correctly, I've had a number of instances when the Sun was transiting Scorpio where I had people that were basically, they acted like they were my friends, and they at least impersonated people that were, but when I went through some adversity, I found out they really weren't. And even some people that turned on me during that period, if I'm not mistaken. So those are some things to look at when the Sun transits Scorpio. And this could be, what's interesting about the Sun in Scorpio is that Halloween falls when the Sun is in Scorpio on October 31st. And Scorpio can be connected with the supernatural, the macabre, things that are connected with horror, really things that are spooky. And I think what's interesting is that you have people going around dressing up as wearing scary outfits, and I guess they're going through a little Scorpio transformation during this period by putting on disguise and going out the trick-or-treaters wearing costumes. And I find that very interesting. And you have haunted houses can become popular around the time of Halloween, which of course corresponds with the Sun being in Scorpio. And another thing what's interesting too about this transit is that, you have the daylight savings time comes to an end when the Sun is in Scorpio, at least it has for a number of years. And you have 1 hour of less light because of this. And Scorpio is associated with darkness, and I find that very interesting that the daylight savings time ends when the Sun is in Scorpio. And this could also be a period, what I find another thing that's intriguing is that the NBA season, which is Professional Basketball Association in the United States, begins when the Sun is in Scorpio as well. And you're probably thinking, well, what does that have to do with the Sun Scorpio? You got other major sports that begin with when the Sun is in other various signs. Well, what's interesting about this is that basketball, perhaps more so than the other three major sports, which I consider to be football, baseball, and hockey, is that you can with basketball, it's a little bit more about controlling the tempo of the game. You could have one team that's very methodical going against a team that's more fast-paced and really is about running and shooting and going at a high tempo as far as scoring, where the other team is really not, and it's more of a half-court game for the other team. And what it is Scorpio is associated with control. Basketball is a game which really is strongly associated, I believe, with control. And you really have more intensity in basketball than a lot of other sports. I mean, you have a lot of physical contact in basketball, and it really can be very emotionally intense. And I think a lot of it can be connected I understand basketball goes on for a number of months, but the season does start when the sun is in Scorpio. Now, when the sun is in Scorpio, it could really be about getting more enamored with getting to the bottom of things, getting involved with mysteries, really digging deep. And really, it's more of a time when you could be very resourceful, very resilient, bouncing back from adversity, and really having a disdain for things that are frivolous and really in things that are superficial. What's interesting too is that a lot of places during this time when the sun is in Scorpio, okay, fall is still present and you could have a lot of leaves. Now, you could be doing a lot of raking and maybe you uncover some things under the leaves. I know you can do this in other periods besides the sun being in Scorpio as far as raking leaves going up, but this could be a time where maybe for some people when the sun was in Libra, you kind of were a little bit more relaxed. Scorpio is about being more intense, and really that could be a time where you might even find some coins or something as far as raking goes. I know that, that might not be true in a lot of instances for people, but I could see this with the sun being in Scorpio. Scorpio is about getting to the bottom of things. What's interesting too is that also you have a couple pretty popular shows that are connected with horror that started when the sun was in Scorpio. Tales of the Dark Side premiered. Its pilot episode was on October 29th, 1983, and you had Masters of Horror. That show premiered on October 28th, 2005. So I think that's interesting as well as far as Scorpio. Scorpio can be very probing, and this is a time where it's about seeing the duplicity, the subterfuge in others, and really weeding out who the people are in your life that are going to be there and the ones that aren't going to be there. And I think a lot of this is Scorpio related. You could have people getting ready early for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, those that celebrate them. People that are doing a lot of recycling, going to recycling bins to make a few extra bucks. That recycling is connected with transformation. That is very Scorpio related, of course. And it might be a time where you might be going out more often with a detector, going outside. Fall weather is beautiful in many places, and you go with a metal detector and finding different things, uncovering coins, some objects that you hadn't seen maybe in some time. So those are some things to look at when the sun is transiting Scorpio. Now, also, it's important to look at the house in your natal chart that the transit sun in Scorpio is in, because this could show that sector of life where this Scorpio energy comes out strong. Now, let's say you have the transit sun in Scorpio in your 10th house. Well, this could be a period that you may shine in career matters. And being in Scorpio, perhaps through showing a lot of resourcefulness, and could be something very transformative, like maybe making a major change in your career, and you shine in the process of doing so, so to speak. Now, also, it's important to look at the aspects, if any, that are made by this transit to your natal planets and points, as this could impact the transit. Now, let's say, for example, that the transiting sun in Scorpio is making a sextile or trine to your natal Uranus. Well, this could be auspicious perhaps for doing something connected with electronics and computers. And given that the sun is in Scorpio, this could be strongly connected with maybe troubleshooting, maybe some computer electronic devices, and getting to the bottom of the problem. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the transit sun in Scorpio, and stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about the transit sun in Sagittarius. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.